everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today is Wednesday, and I disappeared for the past few days. I've actually been doing a fast here on Koh Samui, Thailand, and I've been doing a 7-day juice fast, psyllium bentonite cleanse, and I've been doing it at a spa next door, which past 2 days, today's day number 3, so the first 2 days were quite brutal for me, and I was exhausted that, you know, I'm still working while I'm traveling around Thailand, and so, you know, on top of doing this fast, I've also been hosting the 10-day juice fast, and I have coaching clients, everything, so it was just past 2 days, I was just exhausted that, you know, it's like any moment I had of just getting a little bit of rest, I kind of just took advantage. So I missed you guys for the past 2 days, but all is good, and I'm hoping that this weekend I'm going to actually go to the spa and film it and just go through you guys with what I've been doing for the 7-day cleanse and let you guys see like what the whole program's all about. So that'll be fun, and that'll be up next week. So pretty much what I wanted to talk about though today was we had a great discussion over the weekend on the 10-day juice fasting forum, because right now they're actually at the end of their 10-day juice fast and doing really, really well. And it brought up the question regarding why is it that they do really well doing juice fasts, but when they're in their daily life they have a really hard time with keeping away from eating junk food and the foods that are not contributing to their health and their weight loss goals, things like that. And they're wondering, like, why is it for some people it's really easy to do something like a juice fast, you know, and why is eating so difficult? And the reason why this actually happens is that when you're on a juice fast, there's very little option, right? It's just juice or water, right? And the only thing that you're picking and choosing all day is what fruit or vegetables or greens, or a combination of all of them, what you're going to be putting through the juicer, right? But that's about it. Whereas when you're eating day-to-day food, I mean, you can choose what you want. You know, every moment you have the choice whether you're going to eat that salad or you're going to have that burger, you know, or you're going to have some ice cream, or you're going to have a smoothie instead. So it's a totally different situation. So a lot of people do really well doing juice fast, because especially if they're trying to change their eating habits, because suddenly they're not having to deal with their eating habits. They're not having to deal with their emotional connection to food. They're not dealing with the trigger foods that set them off and keep them addicted. And when they're just drinking juice, they don't really have to think about it. So they just let go for the amount of time that they're doing the juice fast. And so what do people do when they get back to eating? You know, like, and how to deal with these trigger foods that throw them off, because that's what it is. You know, it's realizing that a lot of the foods that are throwing people off and throwing them into sort of the path of junk food and weight gain is trigger foods. And it's being honest with yourself about what are those foods that once you start, you cannot stop. Because that's the issue. You know, we all have certain foods in our life that we connect to with, you know, emotional reasons, and we use certain foods to make us feel better. They actually have sort of like, you know, a chemical effect on us. They give us a high. And so some people it's sweet foods, other people it's high-fat foods, other people it might be salty food. And so it's a matter of recognizing what are those foods that you have as a treat once in a while that turn into a full-on binge. And it's really looking at it and identifying, okay, you know, I'm going to be honest and straight up with myself. What is it that throws me onto like a junk food bender every time? Because there's certain foods that do it, and there's certain foods that don't. You know, like I see it with myself. Like in the past, when I used to eat cooked foods and junk foods, everything, I never had a salty tooth. I never really liked salty foods at all, and I hated deep fried foods. But I loved sweet food. So I was one of these people that you can give me a bag of chips and I would have 2 chips and I would just leave it. You know, I can have a bag of chips sitting in my home for years without touching it because I didn't care for that kind of food. But I could never just have a few spoonfuls of ice cream. I would have to eat the whole jug, you know, like in one sitting. And a lot of times if I would have ice cream, then I'd want pizza or I'd want something else with it. So it's interesting to see that there are certain foods that would set me off. And that's one thing that years ago that I was able to recognize, okay, you know, like when I'm looking to have a treat and I was eating these kind of foods, I knew that certain things as a treat I was able to eat in moderation and really just be able to stop when I'm full or I've had enough, but that there were certain foods that really, once I started, I couldn't stop. And so once I was able to sort of sit down and even, like I suggest to people, write a list of all those foods that once you start, you cannot stop. And whether it's the chocolate, you know, some people think, oh, you know, I haven't had chocolate in a few months, so I'm going to have a candy bar. And they think, oh, I'm just going to have one little piece. You know, I can just have one piece. And next thing you know, they sit down, they have that one little square of chocolate, and next thing, you know, they eat the whole chocolate bar, and they go to the store to buy 5 more. Okay, this happens all the time. So it's really looking at your eating habits and what are those things that no matter how many times you've tried to eat it in moderation, you've never been successful with, then you know that those are foods that you should actually just eliminate completely from your diet. Get rid of them. Don't ever go near them, and don't fool yourself into thinking that a few weeks down the line you can have it as a treat, because I assure you, if you don't have control over it today, you're not going to have control over it in a few weeks from now. And what ends up happening, because I see this all the time, I coach people with their diets for a living, so I hear about it and I see it where, you know, it's like, it's not only physically what these foods are doing to people, but emotionally. That's where the big issue is that, you know, people do so well on their diets and then they say, oh, I'm going to have that one treat, and that one treat is their trigger food, and next thing you know it's like they had a full-on binge on it, and they feel terrible, and they feel devastated. They feel guilty, they hate themselves, they self-sabotage themselves, they feel out of control, and it just throws them down into a spiral of really dark depression. And it's just from that one food. And you don't want to go there, you know? So it's a matter of figuring out what are those treats that you can give yourself, because, you know, you deserve treats once in a while, and whether it's a healthy treat or maybe like, you know, like a junk food treat, whatever it is, it's better to have the healthy version. But if you're going to have the junky version, at least find something that you can eat in moderation. That when you've had enough, and it doesn't throw you into wanting something else, and it doesn't throw you into wanting more. And I suggest, be prepared. Know now what are the foods you're going to eliminate completely from your diet, you're never going to eat again, no matter what. And what are those foods that you can have once in a while in moderation, and it's just a treat and that's it, and you can move forward. And you're not going to feel bad, you're not going to feel guilty, and it's not going to throw you back into bad patterns and bad habits. Okay, so that's pretty much my little tip today about the trigger foods, and just keeping you going, keeping you on track with what you're doing, and always just trying to maintain balance. That's what we want, balance. Alright, so I wish you guys a fabulous day, and I just want to remind you really quickly that the 7-Day Raw Food Challenge, it starts next Monday, July 19th, and it's going to be fantastic. Once you sign up, you get recipes, you get a full menu planner for the full 7 days. So it's outlined exactly what you need to eat at all your meals, you don't have to worry about it. And plus there's an online forum, and on the forum there's daily videos specifically made for the Raw Food Challenge. Each video is 20 to 40 minutes long. It takes you through raw food nutrition, natural health, everything you need to know to really have a balanced diet. So you can do the raw foods for an entire week, get yourself started, that it kickstarts your healthy diet, that once you're off the challenge, you know exactly what to do, have a healthy, balanced raw food diet, how much to be eating, everything. And you get to meet everyone on the Raw Food Challenge from around the world. It's an online program, so It's international. I'm on the forum supporting everyone, answering questions, everything. So do go to my website to sign up. It's at www.rawradianthealth.com. Click on Raw Food Challenge and sign up today. It starts on Monday. So I'm wishing you guys a fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!